Good evening and salutations, my Days of Elias fans. I gotta sit there and say, Days has been, for the most part, pretty solid. It's been pretty solid for the most part. And this episode was no exception. So Eli wakes up, and, for a good minute, he doesn't really remember what happened. He doesn't even remember how he got in the hospital. He doesn't remember that. Um, yeah, he doesn't remember even getting shot and by who. Now, he wasn't there talking to her because, she was sitting there filling him in on everything that happened as far as the twins and her emotional state, all that. And then she started talking about her father. And at that point, Eli was like, yo, I don't want that man anywhere near our kids. And, she was like, well, he's never really there with them, by himself or whatever. And I'm like, that didn't really answer the question or smooth his concerns out the way. Um, but once again, she kind of goes into this bit of defense mode. Oh, he's been a model person, and Paulina has even seen him in a different light, and Beth was there talking about he didn't really do anything, it didn't really hurt him and stuff like that. But my whole thing is like, again, when you hear about somebody like that, you're the back of your ears, the back of your ears, neck hairs or whatever stands up for a reason. So, she's not there trying to like, smooth his woes or whatever about, Ray kind of being more close to the family, but he's like, I don't know. Um, Towards the end of the episode, it does start to come back to him as far as him struggling with someone for the gun and then being shot. I don't think he's going to sit there and remember a face right away, but he does remember. Because at one point, he didn't even remember that. And now he does remember getting into an altercation and, somebody trying to reach for his gun and then he getting shot. So it is starting to come back. Now, at this point, Lonnie saw Paulina and Ray, but, Ray was like, hey, how about we go back to my place? And Paulina was like, no, 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 no. We can go to my place and you can sit there and explain whatever it is that you got to explain. So, before Lonnie got a chance to sit there and see them, they were already downstairs in the elevator. I mean, the elevator was already closing. So they get back to her place. And, he is trying to lay on the charm. Oh, you've been the love of my life in the last past couple of days. Has just been the best, this, that, and the third. And this dude flats out says, will you marry me? And Paulina's reaction was priceless. She was like, have you lost your damn mind? You know, on top of the fact that she was like, yo, listen, we haven't even been on a date yet, and you're asking to marry me? Are you serious? So he's like, yeah, I know it's kind of sudden, but this, that, and the third. And, at this point, she's like, I don't really know about that. So Ray's like, all right, how about we just go away for the weekend? We just go away for 3 days. You've been running yourself ragged. You've been trying to sit there and help everyone else, and you haven't really been looking out for yourself. You can come back and could be recharged and because at one point, Paulina's like, I don't know about leaving her with Eli in that condition, but Ray's like, well, it doesn't really seem like he's going anywhere. So he convinces her to, leave with him for the weekend. Now in his mind, he's all like, oh, I'm gonna get my hands on that money. I'm like, how? How? Um, but he does get a call from Trip because Trip wasn't there calling Paulina. He answered the phone, and Trip was like, "Well, it's some good news. Eli's awake." And the look on his face of terror and the "oh-ish" moment really came into effect in his face. I got to give the guy props for, um, just emoting that facial expression. And so after that, he's all like, oh, well, did he sit there and say what happened? Like, does he remember how he got there? And Chip was like, no, but, it's very common. And, it seems like he might make a full recovery and he may gain back his memories. So at this point, um, Paulina comes back in the room, and Ray is like, well, Lonnie told us, you should go, you should just relax and get recharged. She is ecstatic about the idea, pretty much, more or less. And I'm gonna be, I mean, my whole thing is like, all right, so what are your plans? You're gonna sit there and take her away, and then come back? Like, how is this whole how is this whole him getting her money gonna work out? Because let's just sit there and say he does. Let's just sit there and say, for the sake of argument, he woos her to get married and everything like that. What's gonna happen when he gets back? And if he remembers, he's gonna be going to jail. I mean, my whole thing, when he heard the fact that he was awake, I would have been like, yo, we're gonna have to cancel that trip because I gotta sit there and kind of just, take care of something. By take care of something, I mean find a way to put Eli 6 feet under. Instead, this dude is all like, nah, I gotta sit there and get this money because this money is gonna mean what is it gonna be in jail? what is it gonna be in jail? I'm just curious. And Abe came over there to sit there and pick up the twins from Julie. They get to talking. They start talking about Ray and how he doesn't have a good feeling about him, and he starts talking about Paulina and the whole kiss and them getting into an argument at in the hospital and everything like that. And long story short, at first at first Julie called Paulina a hussy for kissing him. And I'm just like, Julie, I get it. I get you're a woman of a certain age. But I don't remember the last time anyone called somebody a hussy. Like, I really don't. I mean, but that's not true. That's not true. Um, and then I remember somebody was just saying that in the comment section about someone. I think it might have been General Hospital, but one of my subscribers was there calling somebody a hussy, and I was like, I read that and I just laughed. I was like, I got to take a screenshot of this. This is gonna be funny. I'm gonna need this to get through the rest of the day. But yeah, she called her a hussy, and at that point, Abe was like, well, it's really good confiding in you. And long story short, she does get him to admit his feelings, and go after Paulina, you know? Because at this point, Julie's like, I get it, you don't trust her. But at this point, what is there left to lie about? And to some extent, that's kind of true. But at the same time, I mean, the problem is, even if it's not something that she previously did and didn't tell him, well, that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that she can't sit there and lie to him in the future about something. I mean, hell, she lied twice. Like, there was no, like it just was whatever. And granted, I do get the second lie. The Price Town thing was just stupid. But the second lie, I understood. But with that being said, it's like, there's a possibility that she could sit there and lie to him again. But I guess you're just going to have to sit there and take that chance. And I think more important is one of those things where it's like, you know what? I think he looks at it as far as saving Paulina. It's better me for better me to be with her than somebody who used to sit there and physically abuse her. So Susan convinces Johnny to sit there and try to psychically connect to um yeah, so she gets him to sit there and try to psychically connect to Allie. And it takes a little bit of work, but he's able to actually do it. Up until the point where he can actually see through Allie's eyes. And so he's not there describing to Ben and Susan, like Allie, as far as Tiara and being on the floor, and eventually sit there and tell them that, she's going into labor. Now, after some workaround, he's able to get a location. Or, well, no. At first, he just said cabin. That's what it was. At first, he said cabin. And Ben just left because Ben thought it was the cabin that, them and Sierra shared. Later on, Johnny and Susan, realized that it's not that cabin, it's the Horton cabin. But at this point, he's already gone, no cell service, and at this point, Sierra already given birth. So she's giving birth, and Allie holds him. And at this point, Sarah's like, all right, let me sit there and see my baby, this, that, and the third. She keeps asking to see her baby. This is after earlier of her, I don't want to sit there and say whining about Ben, but like just really being adamant, like, oh, I can't do this without Ben. I want a picture of Ben, this, that, and the third. And after all of that, which was like, boy, you having this baby now, and you're sitting there talking about, oh, I gotta sit there and call the cops, and I gotta go to the cops or whatever, and go to a hospital. And at this point, Allie's like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. So anyway, she has the baby. Now Allie's sitting there holding her, and she keeps sitting there saying, "Give me back my baby." And after a while, Allie just kind of looks at her like, yeah, no, I'm good. And finally, Allie reveals herself as the devil. Um, this is after, of course, the devil breaks the psychic connection between, Allie and Johnny. Now, at this point, and this is my whole other thing. This is my whole other thing. Let's just sit there and say, for the sake of argument, he found the right cabin, right? What are you going to do next? Did you see what happened to Sean when he got tossed across the room? When when the devil snapped those handcuffs like they were wet paper? So what was going to want to happen? You're just going to get down there and then what? I have this weird feeling that, Sierra's going to sit there and try to want to fighting off. There's a couple of theories. Now I'm thinking about it. Sierra's going to want to try to fight off Allie and hurt Allie. Or Allie's going to sit there, or, the devil's going to sit there and want to kill Sierra. Because, there's rumors sitting there saying that, Victoria wants to leave and she doesn't want to sit there and play the character anymore for X and Y reasons. So I have a feeling that, I have a feeling that either somebody's going to get hurt or somebody's going to be dead. And, I've said this before, maybe about a year ago. The first time that Sierra was missing and everything like that because of behind the scenes stuff, I was like, bro, they should just recast her. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of recasting, not a fan at all. And to be fair, it was a lot more exciting, watching the story of Ben Smith trying to find her and get to her and everything like that. And except for the Romeo and Juliet stuff, it was a very exciting storyline. But if this is one of those things where it's like they're just going to kill her off and they're not going to have the happy ever after, there's, what I'm saying? Like, it's just going to be like, what are we doing? I'm like, yo, just recast her at this point. Trust me, I know recasting, it's like flipping a coin and just hoping that it just works out because, let's be honest. From what I understand, she's been on the show for a while. She's been playing this character for a while, and people have gotten used to the way that she plays this character. And so having somebody else come in, trying to play Sierra, it's either going to be off or it's either going to be spot on or it's going to be a little off or it's going to be majorly off. And I get it. I get it. It's sort of the same thing with the new EJ. There's people that really like the new EJ. There's people that prefer the old EJ. And then there's people like me that's not tied down to past history of the OG, that's not tied down to past history of the old EJ. So it makes me appreciate the new one even more, knowing that I don't have to sit there and try to compare it to them. Because that is just mentally that sucks. Like when they got rid of, well, it's like when Jason left for the first time, when Steve left for the first time, and then he wound up getting in Billy to play Jason. A lot of people was like, "Oh man, I love new Jason, this, that, and third," and a lot of people was like, "Ah, I don't really like him, yada yada yada," and I was like, you know what? I like what he's bringing to this character as far as being Jason. Yes, he is a lot different. He made a lot of different choices and everything like that. But I'm liking what this person is doing with the Jason character, and I can appreciate that. Because here's the thing: the actor didn't suck. He just played a different version of him, and he did aspects of him that I can appreciate. So, I mean, in the case of Sierra, if they gotta sit there and kill her off or whatever, she leaves. Maybe they can get somebody else, and that's sort of the same thing with Abby. From what I'm hearing, rumors, of course, that the woman that's playing Abigail is going to be leaving because of reasons unknown. So, well, I'm also hearing that they're going to probably kill her off, which is like, what? I mean, Christian Maddox is running around, and he's been known to just kill people because he's a sociopath. I feel like that's about it. I do. I feel like that's about it. So, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Have a great, safe weekend, and I will see you in the next video.